Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Jones, here with my good brother, Mr. 19 Keys. And today we diving deep into the art, controversy, and power. Today we're exploring cultural icons, legal battles, and economic maneuvers that shaping our world today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tap into the new episode. We ain't been there in a while, but we back. And we unpacking a whole lot today, so make sure you tap in.
Past those feelings, and he think about his vision. He think about his will, his plan, his ideas, and shit. He execute. That's man. If it's a problem, it's a solution. That's not acceptable for men to do. I'm building, I'm writing down my goals, and I'm executing, I'm on my mission, tunnel vision. I like the setting of man to man, man. It's just like a safe space to just speak freely upon everything. Like, we talk like men.
Peace, family. Welcome to the Man to Man Show, where we talk as gods. Peace to the God. How you feeling?
Oh man, that's the real. Oh, we ready then?
We ready. Man, you gotta get off the phone, man. Get in tune.
No. I'm telling the people they need to come through right now.
What's popping up, man? How you feeling though,
man? I feel magnificent. It's been a long time since I've been here on the Man to Man Show, and as you know, the whole world done changed since last time we had an episode.
Yeah, I thought you had quit for a second. I ain't gonna even lie, bro.
I don't even know how to quit. I tried once. You feel me? It didn't even work out. I'm still working to this day.
Facts.
That's the only thing I don't know how to do is quit.
I'm saying, so what you been doing for a month to like where you couldn't shoot the man to man?
Oh, first of all, relax. Like it's all on me or something. That's funny. We had Thanksgiving. We had Miami, of course. We had South Carolina. So those are 3 different spots that we went to. In each place we stayed either a couple of days or like a full week. So sometimes the schedule just get a little hectic. You know what I'm talking about? But no, we still dedicated to the people.
That's facts, man. You say Thanksgiving, man. What was Thanksgiving about, man? How you spend your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was love. It was good family. It was good because first of all, the food was immaculate. You know, my diet restrictions are a little lighter on Thanksgiving. For real, because my mom had this stuff and that was immaculate. So thank her for that. It was just good to go see the family. You feel me? I think everybody looked healthy and good spirits, especially in the era that we live in. There's so much craziness that's going on in the world, you know, to be able to just sit and relax with family. You know, I stayed over her house and, you know, just for me, that was like calming my nerves. You know, before I enter back in the world, you get that recharge because a lot of this stuff that's going on right now, it can keep you out of your frame of thinking. Yeah. And I think the most important thing right now is finding stillness. I think that when I say I mean the most important because the greatest asset that one can invest in is their thoughts.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And thought, no matter what's going on, we living in a quantum world. The world is shifting. You're talking about robots, the AI, the machines, and all of that. It's your mind that's going to be your weapon to cut through everything. And if it's not a focused mind and you can't find that stillness within, then you're going to be going with whatever the current goes. Yeah. So it can be going crazy, go pull you to the left, pull you to the right. You get ripped under that current, and then you find yourself drowning. And that's what people consider stress and anxiety to be. It's them drowning in the world versus them being centered in self.
Facts, man. I spent my Thanksgiving out here in LA. And I had first I ain't think, oh, I got a text message, my bad. But first I ain't think like I was gonna do nothing for Thanksgiving, you know, but I ended up randomly running into Soulja Boy.
Oh snap. So you spent he the first rapper to spend his Thanksgiving with a man-to-man host, Steve Jones.
Fast. So I ended up getting some food by default though. It was actually good though. But you know, since the last time we've been here, there's been a lot going on in hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever seen where a rapper lose a rap battle and actually call his lawyer and tell him he want to sue and stop this song from being played? Have you ever seen that?
Well, not until recently. But you know, like I said, I don't think it's far-fetched from a Drake move. I think who was that saying that?
Wiz.
No, Styles. No, it was Wiz. Yeah, it was Khalifa. He said, you know, it's not far-fetched from a Drake move. I think that, you know, when you think about it, you confer with your family, half his family, of course. You feel me? So he went and talked to them. And they was like, what you think I should do?
Now, hold up, though.
They say, son, well, you don't know what to do, sue.
I feel like it was a valid. valid for Drake to do that at this point. I don't
Nah,
feel like he can beat the allegations that he lost. You know what I'm
that's not an
saying? Like,
allegation.
listen,
It's not an allegation.
well,
First of
that's
all,
not an allegation, but as far as the P word,
well, no, I don't
people
think
going
no,
off of, you know,
nobody's really looking at him like that. I don't.
well, he lost the culture. Let y'all West Coast people tell it. He lost the culture for sure. So the only thing he can do is sue and get his last
He
little
just
coins out of the
lost
industry.
that. He just lost that spot that he had. That was this undefeated, untouchable spot, right? And that's it. I think the rest is just about the way that he's taking it and the mistakes that he's making to maneuver to be who he is. Like, you're Drake, be Drake. Don't try to be nothing else. And
Mm.
I think people will respect that. I think the idea that you're this cultural king, that's not was whatever was relevant. That was never real. So I think all it did, it may knock him down a few points, but I think only really into his real position, just to be himself as an artist.
How did you feel about Kendrick response to Lil Wayne? Not congratulating him.
Um, well, I think it was real. I think that was the nicest way that he could have said it. You know what I mean? Because Lil Wayne was crying, right? And instead of enjoying his moment in the spotlight in his city, he started crying, right? And by crying, like you're a grown man complaining about what another grown man not doing for you, right? When nobody owes you anything. And I think, speaking of Jay-Z, because it's like Jay-Z, somebody that helps you out, pays your taxes, help you out doing your legal battles and woes. And I think all it is that it goes from expectation to entitlement. And I think that he got caught up in his own ego and became entitled, not looking at the full scope of this. This is a relationship that Jay-Z have with the NFL. Jay-Z decided to go with a better relationship that he have, saying that Kendrick got the culture. How do we make the biggest moment? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if a white man made that decision, you know what I'm saying? Nobody have a problem. But we always seem to have an issue when one of us is in that power position and we become entitled, right? To say you have to do this for me versus you have to do what's best in your position.
Well, I don't feel like Lil Wayne was like mad at Kendrick per se. Like you said, I feel like he just felt like he should have had it if it was gonna be in his home state or whatnot. They should have picked him for the Super Bowl.
It don't
But
matter.
at the same time, I don't see Lil Wayne congratulating Kendrick Lamar after he just took down his cash cow. Drake was making a lot of money for Wayne.
I don't know if Drake is actually still under Wayne or not. But it don't matter. You know what I mean? The way it ain't even about. First of all, if you go respond like a man, respond like a man. You feel me? You getting up there crying like somebody took something from you. That's soft. It is what it is. You feel me? Like it ain't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond. And he basically responded crying about an opportunity that Kendrick Lamar got because he felt he was entitled to it rather, right? And instead of addressing these men directly, because the real man would have been to do, congratulations to Kendrick Lamar. Is what it is, right? He got his spot. I wanted that spot, telling my fans to relax. I didn't get it this time, but it is what it is. I have you all. I got the flowers of the city. I'm bringing my city together. You feel me? And let's move forward because we're going to create our own Super Bowl. But
Yeah,
crying about a white man's industry and saying that I deserve a spot on his stage, bro, we don't own none of this. You feel
yeah.
me? And now we going at each other for something on a platform that we don't own. Like, I think that's soft and I think that that's weak.
Now speaking of going against each other, I know everybody's seen in the news this week that Jay-Z has just been hit with a lawsuit, or they're allegedly saying that him and rapper P. Diddy SA the 13-year-old. And of course he put out a statement and he was saying like where he's from, that go against his moral codes. And I like the statement, however, me personally, I kind of question that point when he say we had a moral code.
Well, I think he's talking about messing with children, right? You grew up from that era, like when Tupac was putting out the code to the streets and things of that nature. And even when we grow up, there was an idea of a code, like no snitching, right? No women or children. That's the street code that was the idea. Now, this generation, of course, is so far removed from any street code, but he's saying that I come from an era where there was a street code,
Yeah.
right? And how would I ever do something like that, right? Because you also have to explain the differences in eras to a generation because they look at the streets like, yeah, you got a gunner, right? Or you got whoever else that can now be out there going against a code and still get respected and still get love. He said, I come from this code. Now I seen Forbes do a breakdown article about his statement of PR, basically trying to break down psychologically what he's trying to position himself as. I think number one, if somebody coming at, they ain't just coming at the Jay-Z, they're coming after his family, coming after his legacy, they're coming after his brand, and they coming after him as a man, more importantly, saying that he messed with a child. Right.
Now,
so I believe, first of all, in this world, there's almost no way that people would have accepted a response. So you can tear down his PR statement, you can tear it down how he responded, whether it was fast, whatever you want to tear down. How should you have responded?
now I like the part when he said file a criminal suit instead of a civil suit.
Yeah.
But what I disagree with him on his part when he said we have a moral code. It's true we have a moral code growing up in the hood, but for Jay-Z specifically, this the same man that did a collab album with your boy R. Kelly after he had beat the allegations, and the number one song on that album was Not Guilty. They collab. Even imagine getting a call saying come to the video shoot, and it's at Epstein Island. So if you got a moral code, you should have had it then at that time too. You know, when you was dealing with R. Kelly. So that's the only red flag that I got.
Hey,
but,
Mr. Investigator, you did your work on that one.
I don't
I
know.
ain't got nothing to say about that.
Yeah.
I'm speaking upon the actual moral code or the streets or the lack
thereof.
There is, it should
be a moral code.
I don't think there is one anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I think that hip hop, number one, if we really talking about hip hop, we have no real conversation. We can't ignore the African Bambaataa conversation, right? About him so-calledly messing with boys and things of that nature, which is part of the foundation of hip hop. So for me, I always knew that hip hop was gonna rip apart at the seams. Like this day was bound to happen. Hip hop having this Me Too movement, essentially. My thing is, what I question is the timing of it all, right? I question, number one, you got the Abercrombie and Fitch CEO, which that gets thrown away. You got these real estate brokers who's running an ex-trafficking ring. That gets just tossed aside. You have what I'm looking at is how the media paints things, not even just the media. From growing up, we've been waiting on the downfall, right, of anybody who is almost rich and successful in our culture, right? And my thing is this. It matters if they're guilty, for sure.
Yeah.
If they are, then the weight of the world should come down on them, and there's no protection whatsoever. My thing, though, is that the reason that they're being attacked is not because they're guilty. That's not America. We have a president who literally, right, was convicted, right, of sexual assault and things that was brought against him. He was convicted, right? But then you have a lot of people saying, so what? We need him as a leader. We're going to vote him in. We will ignore everything that he's done. Forget his past. It's about his present and his future. So to me, there's this weird conundrum of now you got the right going after Jay-Z, but it's like their leader himself, right, have all of these convictions. Now you can say, oh, that's the left going after him. Well, Jay can say that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? They both knew Diddy. They both knew Epstein. They both, only one has actual convictions, right? Multiple of them that has lost multiple civil suits, right? What's the difference?
Now I see the NFL put out a statement saying that they're not going to cut their partnership with Jay-Z.
Of course not.
Now I want to ask you this, right? Hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say more things come out, you know what I'm saying, that will, you know what I'm saying, hurt Jay-Z's career, smear his legacy or whatnot. How would that look for endorsements when it comes to celebrities? Like, do you think that'll shift, like bring in a whole new wave, like, or would like endorsements stop coming for celebrities, especially rap artists?
I mean, I think that the danger's always been there. I think the NFL, number one, if they were to cut ties, it'd almost be making it seem like he's guilty and they know something that we don't know. So shout out to them. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith for even standing up for Jay-Z because I respected that. I got a different respect for him because of that. Because basically you got all these years and the culture be faking. One day they call you a hero. It's like they fatten you up for the slaughter. One day they saying, thank God he the GOAT, look at all he's done. And you got every single rapper saying that. Every time they go to a party, they want to take pictures with them, right? They goat them throughout everything. And then the moment one thing happens, everybody disappeared. Like they wasn't just standing on his side, right? For the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years or whatever. And then nobody has anything positive to say to vouch for character. It's not that they don't, it's that they are scared and they're fearful.
They don't want
and
to
they
be wrapped
fearful
up
of
in
being
it.
next.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, I think that Black media has to use their influence the way controlled media use their influence, because there's agendas. The way they portray us should never be the way we portray ourselves, right? So basically, we should never take their ideas, put it at the center, and only have discussions around their ideas. It should be our perspective at the center, and then that becomes the narrative that we spin. But we don't have any collective thinking whatsoever. But then it's also the whole thing with somebody like Jay-Z, because why is they going after, over the last 2 years or whatever, they've been going after all of those Black billionaires that are public celebrity Black billionaires with all this influence, money, and power, from LeBron, from Jay-Z to Kanye to Diddy. All of the Black billionaires, right, that are specifically celebrity Black billionaires have been attacked, except Rihanna, the women yet, and you got, of course, Oprah. So now you got to ask yourself why. And at the same time, we look at the media, there's a psyop, a psychological operation that's being played on the mind, which I believe it is to show white America that white privilege is back, right? When you say make America great again, what is that besides reinstalling the white privilege card that make white people have to look in the mirror and say, damn, I have to think about my race before I move and make a move. That is what white privilege is, not having to think about your race whatsoever. When, as W.E.B. Du Bois talk about double consciousness, we have to think about being Black before we make a move. So white privilege is saying, I don't have to think about that. Matter of fact, if anything, it's a benefit. Right? You get pulled over, you get pulled out, I'm a white man. That's the benefit. But in this world, what they've been saying that they're attacking is whiteness. What they've been pushing, this idea of reverse racism. What they do is, and the most intelligent thing that they do is they take ideas that exist, like wokeness and racism, and then they inverse them. So it's kind of like when the LGBT community took the rainbow, right? Or when Hitler took the swastika. So they take these things that have power, then they inverse them and use them against you. So it's a very powerful tactic. And what we end up doing is we utilize their vocabulary, which means that we're now in their world trying to litigate a case. So instead, you have to utilize your own vocabulary, right, to frame things. And then they have to use your words, which means that they're stepping in your world where you have more control. So it's very psychological, because you see the kid who shot and assassinated the CEO of the healthcare, and he goes to McDonald's after doing that, which is diabolical, right? Shout out to McDonald's, they get their advertisement, right? And he gets heralded on all the blogs as a hero, right? They calling him base.
Did you see him? They created a cryptocurrency coin for the guy.
Goes up to 70+ million. Now, number one, there's a lot to unpack there. But not only that, then you see Jordan Neely, right?
The judge dismisses all the charges.
And then his killer gets propped up like a hero as well. Even if you believe that it was not done with intentions from the start, to prop a man up as a hero, first of all, the kid didn't actually harm nobody, right? Every time you go on one of those subway trains in New York, you're going to encounter some crazies. If you telling me that you got to choke out all of the crazies that you find out because somebody felt unsafe, you'll be just going on a rampage, goddamn unaliving homeless people with mental health issues. We know that mental health issues disproportionately affect Black men the most. When they start dehumanizing us and saying that, oh, he got a mental health issue, I was just protecting the world from this person, it dehumanizes them and it justifies anything that you do to them, right? And that's what they've always been doing. You call them an animal, so you strip away their humanity. They did that to Black women. They call Black women harlots, saying that, you know, they make her over-sexualized in the media. You take the movies like the Tyler Perry movies, the 50 Cent shows. All of the shows is as animals, criminals. So when something happens to us, we're dehumanized to where you're not seeing the same. It's all a psychological operation of why these things get green lighted in the first place. But it's something that Hollywood has always played and been able to utilize. So now controlled media is running the same psyop that they've always been running. The only difference this time is that you get a lot of these black voices, which to me, they remind me of, you ever seen Vampire in Brooklyn?
Of course.
Remember when he had the little dude that will run errands for him. He wasn't exactly a vampire. He turned into a little zombie thing.
Yeah.
Same thing like in Blade. They have the vampires that have people who would never really be vampires, but they'd be their little lackeys that they control. People that can go run errands for them throughout the day. And either they was with them because they worship them or they was around them because they feared that now they know the truth. I want to stay close. But this is where I see these suckers, literally, that are melanated in features, right? But psychologically, they Sambos. And they are the ones that utilize their intellect to try to stand up for Massa. And then Massa rewards them with a repost. Massa rewards them with an invite. But you don't know that they will never respect you. They'll never look at you like one of them. They will only use you as long as you have their mind in you. And you start speaking anything of consciousness that goes against what they believe, then see if they treat you like an equal.
Yeah, it's just like this year, 2024, we literally saying like each aspect of the culture is going through a shift. Whether it's entertainment, hip hop, political power, all of it is going through a shift. But like you said, when it comes to the black people, we get done the worst through the media. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a majority of the issue comes from us, the people who's scrolling on the internet, who's commenting and instead of, you know what I'm saying, spreading the propaganda. We play like a major part.
Yeah. I just don't think we understand power dynamics and how it works for the future of the world. If you take down anybody and everybody, right? I think that absolutely we need to take down the Boole in a lot of ways, but it has to be constructive, right? When you look at, I believe it was in El Salvador.
Yeah,
might have been El Salvador. I want to make sure I got that right, but they was talking about how they cut down inflation by getting rid of all of these government jobs, like 30,000 government jobs, right? And now, of course, Department of Doge, Department of Government Efficiency with Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk is want to go in there, gut and cut jobs to try to increase the efficiency of the government, which would radically change things over the next 2 years. They're talking about putting together Dogecast to where people can see it transparently happen in real time. Very interesting experiment that they about to run in front of the world. Now, I look at that and say, okay, what if we did the same thing, right? We have to take a look at these organizations and celebrities and people that we have historically granted power to speak for us. But the thing is, when we do it, it's great. But when they do it, they're doing it for their agenda, which means they're taking a piece off the board, right? So that they can move forward. If we take a piece off the board, it's so that we can move forward. So when we celebrate, right, even if that person is wrong, even if that person is guilty, if we're not the one cleaning up our own house, then it's not our move. And it doesn't bring any progress for us. It's a chess move, and you have to ask, what are they eliminating it for, and what's the next 10 steps? So strategically, I just see us saying that, oh yeah, they got us emotionally to look at ourselves as villains, now understanding that there's a much bigger villain, and he never gets revealed. He never gets outed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The boogeyman that's behind the boogeyman never gets touched. They literally are above the law. What did we just see with Biden and his son?
I was just about to get to that.
Above the law.
Yeah, but
ain't no higher privilege than that.
But technically, be real. If you was the president, right, and your child got locked up and you had access to go and had the power to go get him out, would you go get your son? Yes, I'm going to get my son. Like, I don't, at this point, and I'm not running next presidency, I'm going to get my son, even though he told the American people that he wouldn't do that.
I don't know, because his son, old crackhead, you know what I'm saying?
It's his son, though, bro, and he's like 99.
Yeah, but he a crackhead, though. If I'm president and my son chooses to be crackhead, I ain't messing with him. Straight up. He got to go sit a little. He got to go sit a little bit of something.
Now,
but he a crackhead, though. And he out there messing with hoes and wilding. I'm the president. and you over there trying to trade secrets using my name. First of all,
That's most rich
never got
kids.
to that point.
That's most rich
No, I ain't
kids.
talking about rich
doing
kids.
that.
I'm
You
talking-
come
I'm the
from a rich
president,
family.
man, and you think I'm gonna bail you out every time?
So you
Hell
leave,
no,
you leave
bro.
your
I
own
would have
flesh and
had the
blood.
Secret Service first of all gonna whoop his ass. You know what I mean?
Would you
Stump a
leave him
hole
in
him.
jail to finish the rest of the sentence? No.
I would have made a deal to get him out at some point in time, but not. He gotta get scared straight though. He can't, because exactly what he thought was gonna happen happened. So it's like, what's the value? What's the value of having a son? I'm gonna be honest. Having a son that's a straight disappointment, up and down. It ain't no value to me. You feel me? So I don't know. I'm one of the ones that I don't believe that you should just bail your children out from everything.
I'm going to get mine. Like,
I know that's what you saying.
We right or wrong. We got to ride out.
Ain't no right or wrong.
It depends on the charge, but
yeah, it depends
that
on the
charge. Definitely coming home for sure.
Yeah, I mean, nah. Because I want my children to be watching this to know, like, y'all don't just get the fuck up and then Pops just protect you, because that's gonna make you a soft ass son. And I don't want no soft ass son. Straight up. No, straight up.
He going to get his son.
Bro, I'm straight up serious. Because that's the problem. You don't protect boys. You got to prepare them. If they think they can lean on you, they gonna constantly be in this bubble trying to depend on you. Right? And then I'm not gonna respect my son, and then I'm not gonna respect myself. So at the end of the day, no, there has to be consequences for action. Now, I don't think it's going overboard, right? I think that, yeah, you can figure out a way to be like, look, I'm going to go talk to Trump. Look, we're going to make a deal. I want to get my son out. I want to teach his last lesson. So how about you pardon him a couple of months? Let's get this on paperwork. I don't know. I wouldn't leave him in there for no 10 years or nothing.
Now, check this out.
He definitely got to get some kind of form of punishment.
I was scrolling and I seen the U.S. government had bought like $1.92 billion worth of cryptocurrency wallets. And I had remember, like, we had did the Breakfast Club interview, and you was explaining to Charlemagne the God the value of decentralized coins. But now, as you can see, like I said, the world going through a shift. You can see all the governments and all the countries getting into crypto. They're approving regulations. They ban coins. How you feel about this? Because at first, the blockchain was the whole point of being decentralized, separating yourself from the government. So how you feel about all of these different countries getting into crypto?
Well, let's look at it, right? Who are the biggest holders of crypto right now? You gotta pay attention to the world. Please pay attention to the world. I want people to listen. Financial literacy is not the most important thing right now. Economic literacy is, when you want to understand these things. There's going to be way too many things that's going on to keep up with it. It's economic literacy, to where you can understand how these things are affecting you on a macro level.
Yeah.
Right. And right now, paying attention to macro trends will help you understand the world much faster than just micro trends. So right now, you got, of course, Satoshi Nakamoto. He owns the most Bitcoins. Right. Then, of course, you have, I don't know if this is in order, but you have Michael Saylor, you have BlackRock, and then you have the United States of America. When it comes to Bitcoin owners, what do they have in common? They're American companies, right? When America was going through the economic crisis, what just happened to come up? During the process of de-dollarization, things of that nature, went through the financial crisis, and all of a sudden, Bitcoin. Magical computation, mathematical purity that could save the entire financial system, right? Of course, the BlackRock, what's his name, Michael Spinks, whatever his name is, he said that, right, he was against it, but then he changed his tune. Donald Trump, he was against crypto. Now he's the pro-crypto president.
Warren Buffett.
Even Michael Saylor, he was against crypto. Now he's pro-crypto, right? Warren Buffett, still against it. He about to be out of here and so, right? JP Morgan was against crypto. Now all of a sudden he changed his tune, right? Ripple is with, I think, US Bank or one of them, right? So if you look at the system and how the game is shaping up, America is saying that we have now the first pro-crypto president, which is Donald Trump, right? The crypto bros embraced him. He embraced back, right? Because that was part of how he got elected. But he wants to make America the crypto capital all of a sudden. So you got to pay attention to them saying that they're going to utilize this to try to save the dollar, right? When you look at, you got globalism, because crypto started off as a populist movement, right? Where the millennials and Gen Zs loving crypto. Black people, black men specifically, was in crypto more than any other group in America at first.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we can't have that. So let's push the machine, because if we do that, now we have an issue, because these guys are playing the game before we get to play.
Right.
So then you get all of the publications and all of the haters, right? Because it's something that black men are doing.
Yeah.
Now they look down upon it.
Because like you said, if you look at the landscape, we were some of the first people out here teaching cryptocurrency 5-6 years ago.
100%.
1,000%.
Because we had the right idea.
And then you seen the crypto fade away. I know people who personally called me, say, hey, you still got crypto? I sold mine, bro. I seen my wallet drop. I was like, well, you should have held on to that shit. It's back up.
Well,
Bitcoin passed 100K now.
But let's look at why. The black community has financial nihilism first before everybody else. We look at it as this is their world. We don't own any of it at all. We was always talked about these metric gaps between black and white. They constantly throw that at us. So we like, yo, we look at it as in this sense of despair, like there's almost nothing that we can do to win in this system because it is rigged. So what that does is that leads to high risk behavior, right? Such as what? Gambling. Now you see everybody is on gambling because of financial nihilism. We think that is rigged. So we looking for places to try to create these quantum leaps. Then you got crypto. Crypto is supposed to be a rebellious movement, a revolt against the system.
Right.
Decentralization was an idea that everybody could jump onto. The problem now is everybody looking at it based on a capitalist, right, opportunity, looking at price movement, right? Instead of how can we create solutions, real world solutions to create our own, right, movements and things of that nature, our own financial systems of decentralized finance. So instead, now we got meme coins that's going crazy, right? Of course, we got Bitcoin and things of that nature, but instead of this generation solving their problems through these projects on the blockchain, this price movement has caught people into this gambling era to say that, yo, since the assets cost more and the average person is not making enough wages, that over the next 5 years, they won't be able to afford a home. So the American dream is dead. So now they're like, okay, well, if I can't work my way into the American dream through hard work, right, then that means that I need to figure out a riskier way to get that done. Crypto and gambling does that. So now you're seeing gambling pushed on society because those are the things that people are looking for.
Right.
Because you're not going to see wage increase, because if you increase the wages, then the billionaires lose, they make less money. But then they borrowed against these assets, and now their interest on that money costs more, so they need their money. So what do they need to do then? Got to replace you with AI. So now let's bring in automation, because I don't want to have to pay more people. It's going to cost more. I need to increase efficiency and productivity while making more money to pay off these loans that I got. But then we going to also bring in robots. That means that the human labor in the capital market, right, when you look at human capital, decreases down to zero. So now people are not looking at saying that, yo, I can work hard and then I can make my way towards wealth. That doesn't exist, at least right now, at least probably to the next 4 to 5 years. So what happens? Instead of just, you have globalization, which creates this competitive market to where I might not buy from you. I might buy from China, right? Yeah. You got a lot of people, they shopping at, what's the Chinese global marketplace called? Everybody be getting Temu, right? All those different places. That's globalization.
Speaking of,
hold on, we gotta stay on the economic conversation.
No, I'm sticking to the economic conversation, right?
That you can see.
How do you feel? Because you just said something about automation, right? And they getting these robots. Now I know you've been seeing a lot of the news about quantum computers and quantum AI chips right now. Is this the time for investors to be the most focused on tech? Because we got they trying to make these robots as smart as humans now, using these quantum chips.
Yeah, so quantum computing, first of all, it requires a whole lot of energy, and America's trying to figure out where to get that energy. And essentially, that's us going into, a type 1 civilization, right, where we're able to harness energy in a different way. We haven't got there. We had like a 0.7, and that's this Kardashev scale that Michael Pichu created, who is a leading physicist, and he talks about when the world advances into these new civilization scales. So by getting quantum computers, and quantum computers essentially operate what they call qubits. So qubits essentially saying that instead of saying that you doing one thing at a time, it's doing two things at a time and existing in two states. The problem though is the more qubits that you have, the more unreliable it becomes. So they're trying to figure out how you make that more reliable as a system. But what it allowed them to do was to solve a problem, of course, that only a quantum computer can solve. That would have took what they said septillion years.
Yeah.
So they claim that to be more vast than the age of the entire universe. So what they're saying is that if it's more vast than the span of the entire universe, then they must have done the equations in another universe. So that basically said it's multidimensional, right? Now, if we exist in where we have quantum computers that can solve problems beyond even what like our imagination, right? That means that we go into immortality, we go into complete space travel, we go into time travel, we go into teleportation. You know what I mean?
We're
That
going
means
into
that
artificial merge integrated with reality.
gene editing. That means that there transhumanism. That means that there are also quantum security issues. Because with a quantum computer, let's say if China had it right now, there wouldn't be a password that's safe. No matter who it is, they'd be able to hack the NSA if they wanted to. So this is why everybody has to get involved, from the CIA, the FBI. They all have to get involved in this quantum race. So it's an AI quantum race, because if you power your AI with the quantum, now this is when you start to get these, android, humanoid type robots.
Terminators and shit.
Yeah. So right now we can't do that. Right now I call this the ugly phase. It's like a teenager with the little bumps on them. You know what I mean? They might be beautiful one day, but right now they're going through their little aqua phase. That's what technology is. Until it's completely powered up with these quantum chips, it ain't hitting yet. So we know the potential is there, but it's kind of like when Sora just dropped, and Sora ain't really nothing yet. It's like you roll the dice and you might get something great, but there is no consistency with the quality right now. So therefore, yeah, this quantum race is dangerous, because imagine if they have the quantum machine. If you got a quantum machine, that means that you can control the whole world down there. But how do we know that we're not already living in a quantum simulation? That it'll be so good that we'd be plugged up, we wouldn't know what's real and what's not. The thing is, I think about is like, damn, you talk about AI regulation. AI regulation gonna go to a point where, number one, only a few major players, number one, will be able to do anything with AI and completely monopolize it. Why? It's because you have what they call data gravity, meaning that there's only going to be so many forces in the world that can take all of the data and utilize it to create these algorithms. So that's going to be your Googles, your open AIs, right? You got your Metas, you got your X's, because they the ones that have these large data sets. So with that data gravity, that creates AI monopolization. With AI monopolization, they become world powers, right? Then you take that and you power that up with quantum, which right now we don't have enough energy for, which is why Donald Trump keeps saying energy, energy, energy. We need more energy because they literally have to figure out how to power up these machines right now. So we focus on being atomic powers and all of that. Right now, we trying to figure out how do we become quantum supreme? How do we reign with quantum supremacy? And Google, which is an American company, has helped us take a lead in that race. But now we have to watch out for China and other places.
Now, speaking of watching out for other places, there has been drones flying over the skies in New Jersey. And the last episode of the Man to Man podcast, we kind of got into Congress having a meeting and finally confirming that UFOs exist under the water. That's what they told us. But now with these drones flying over New Jersey, they're trying to tell us that it's coming from Iran. It's Iranian mothership is the exact words. How you feel about these drones flying around, man? Do you feel like it's a real UFO, alien civilization, or do you feel like these other countries are spying on the US?
I think it's both. First of all, there's a mothership. There's some aliens, what they call crypto terrestrials. They got some that's in the water, right? There's the Nation of Islam been telling you. All you gotta do is listen to the Black Gods, and they tell you what's going on. You know what I mean? Mother Tanetta, she gave a breakdown when they took a 300 millimeter camera and they looked at it, and it looks like orbs. Orbs are like time traveling spheres, right? They're not specific machines, right? But it's something that allows you to travel through time. Now, listen, for a lot of people, they might not understand all of this. I just say use your intuition. There's something going on in the world. What do you think it is? A lot of these things just come down to questions, right? I can't say I have the 100,000% answer. I can't tell you everything, but I can get you close to the truth. And the way you get close to the truth is just by asking the right questions, right? Yes, there are UFOs. That is confirmed. There is alien technology. Ask yourself this question. If we build quantum machines that can simulate and do damn near the impossible, right? You don't think that they can create anti-gravitation, systems, right, to have these flying machines? But let's say if we able to create that, and these machines have been visiting us since the 1930s, at least on record. Right. And then further back, of course, we go look at ancient tablets and things of that nature. Well, what kind of computers they got? That means they already got fusion energy and quantum computers.
They got it.
Exactly. So all this stuff that we saying we about to do, that means they can already do.
So look, when you say ask the right questions, right? With a shift going on, where does the UFOs and the alien civilization play into this rebuilding America or the world? Where does they come into play at? Like, what would be their reason to just pop up now?
Well, they've been popping up.
But now it's like they really trying to reveal themselves. We seeing more sightings
now there's
any
more
day and time.
Media talking about it, but we also have more technology of independent media. You got to remember that this is a new age of independent media being able to voice their own opinion. So now you have billions of people with phones and platforms that can then say, I seen something, versus having to go to chat Fox News and saying, take my story and take it credibly and also narrate it like this so that people believe it like this, versus the government saying, let me get that story first. So they literally created a whole entire UFO department to debunk UFO sightings, right? Now they're going in front of the Congress talking about these UFOs coming and shining lights on their weapons, nuclear weapons, saying, y'all better not use these. And if it's not UFOs and it's other countries doing it, then which country is it? And if they doing it, then what you're saying is that America is not the superpower. So if America is not the one scaring America, because why would you do that? Then who is it? So that's a question to ask, right? But it's so many layers that you can go into that. But I believe that, you got to look at it like this. First of all, there's inner earth. There's all of these different aspects, right? If you down there, Americans and people up here tripping, you told them, look, don't bother me. You Wakanda, basically. But then you go send out some people, go let them know, listen, they'll blow all their shit up if they ever do some Hiroshima shit again.
Well, they need to just come get me before they get to doing all the crazy shit.
No, that's
come get me, take me back home.
That's up to your peoples to do that.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you the black man, back you home. Need to be checking this stuff.
Yeah, like
you know what I'm saying? It's your responsibility.
It may be.
Handle this. It's like this, first of all. You ain't even doing.
No, we got our own sign over here.
Don't
worry about it. I ain't even supposed to do that on camera. But look, check this out, right?
All right, bro.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to Florida.
I've been paying attention to everything.
But they going through a shift. So Florida just recently banned social media from all children 14 years of age and under. Yeah. And I had put up a poll on Instagram and I was asking people like who should monitor the children's social media, insight or whatnot. And I put the parents or the government. And surprisingly, a majority of the people picked the government. But I have an issue with that because, how much do you want? How much privacy do you want? Or do you want the government to know everything that's going on in your household?
Privacy. What privacy do you have?
I mean, I'm thinking about living off the grid.
You thinking about it, but they already knew you were thinking about that.
I just told them.
They got the moment you start looking up stuff, you start searching off the grid.
Exactly.
Stuff, they put a profile. Oh, Steve thinking about going off the grid. Make sure we follow. And then they go predict where you go. They go look at the economic model, geographical location, your likes, dislikes, and they already know where you going before you go.
Now, what does this say about the parents?
Matter of fact,
when the government got to
set
step
up
in
the algorithm to sell it to you, create you a credit package so that you can even afford to go there. Because now you're going exactly where they want you to go.
Cut it out, man. Nah, but for real, what does this say about the parents though? For the fact that the government has to even step in from in the first place.
There's a lot of bad parents in the world. You know what I'm saying? First of all, our generation was wilding. You know, this generation know where their kids at, but they don't know where their children are. Right? So like our generation be out the house, disappear at a party somewhere. You know what I mean? Kicking it, getting in trouble in the street, shootouts, drinking, partying, you know, disappearing. Just
I ain't grow up like stuff. That. I ain't
There's regular teen stuff, you know. Oh, surviving bullets and stuff.
Nah.
This generation, they in the house. They shooting the game. You know what I'm saying? They streaming on YouTube. They ain't going nowhere, but their mind is melting right there. They falling into these different pill traps. Instead of them actually doing ecstasy and stuff, they going on the red pill and the blue pill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They going down rabbit holes and getting caught up in this matrix. Their mind is melting because they can't focus. They got super ADHD. You know what I mean? They're constantly seeking stimulation, right? And so they in a dopamine deficit where they can never be satisfied with one thing because their brain doesn't allow them because they need constant rewards. So it's really messing up this generation, and they getting depressed more and more, younger and younger and younger. They got body dysphoria, all of these different things. And then they got that one disease, being a sucker. You know what I mean? That one is hitting them heavy. They don't know how to be men. There's a lot of stuff going on.
On the holidays, did you see your young cousins or younger siblings using any electronics?
Oh, of course, man. They was glued to it like Elmers. You feel me? So unfortunately, I see this as a issue all around. They in the matrix. You feel me? And their body's energy and attention is what powers it up. So I think that partially is that you got these government intervention does need to happen because it needs to be regulation on these companies, right? I see Mark Zuckerberg giving Trump $1 million. You feel me? I see them having to kiss the ring. I see TikTok being banned. You feel me? But why? Because the government also knows with this soft generation, they can't be a superpower. You can't be a superpower with this soft generation. You got to get them in the gym. You got to get them having sex again. Americans are not even having sex with each other no more. How America great, and the young men ain't even getting no sex. You know what I mean? Like what we talking about? They the loneliest generation ever. You got loners, and the boomers got all the money, and they don't want to pass it down to these little lonely losers. You feel me? So they trying to figure out, man, first of all, do we got to cut off the TV? You know how your parents cut off the TV? You got that one kid that just a loser, don't go outside, don't talk to girls. That's American generation right now. So they like, we got to figure out how to cut off these screens.
Yeah, man, I got a little cousin like that. He just played the game. I say, bro, when I come to St. Louis, I'm taking you to the pink slip. He talking about, what's that? I said, don't worry about it. You gonna find out. I'm taking you 1,000. I'm gonna make sure I take the crown head off. So if y'all
so for y'all don't know, the pink slip, it's not the slip that you get like a receipt.
You gonna just Google it.
It's not what you get for the car and everything. The pink slip is.
But I was offended though because he actually said, "What's that?" You can explain it though. I took you before.
It's in the region of East Illinois. You know what I mean? It's in the region of East Illinois in the back streets. You feel me? And it's a place where all of the latest and greatest debauchery goes down.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, that was like 10 years ago. You feel me?
Man, they just did a grand opening. I'm just playing.
He keeping up with it is crazy. I would have thought they got
it's
shut
bigger,
down
it's
by
better,
now.
It's brighter.
I would have thought they would have got shut down by now, first of all, because every time we went, we got in a fight.
You ain't get into no fight. Well, we got into a
Actually,
fight.
I was with Adrian and Pops when we got into a fight.
I was there.
Oh, you was there now.
I took you. I took you out to the club.
Oh,
but yeah. So another crazy story that I seen in Florida though is this dealing with law enforcement. I seen that the prosecutors had to overturn 2,000 drug cases because the law enforcement in Broward County was running an illegal crack
Bro,
organization,
they had police crack.
making fake crack, giving people cases. And this stemmed back to 2015 up until now.
I miss when things were conspiracies. I miss when we didn't really know they was true, right? And they are talking about some Hotep against the man, and they tried to make fun of that whole time. Every conscious black man, damn near every to exist, was right.
Yeah.
We need, first of all, there needs to be a mass flower day for the Hoteps and the conscious black men across the planet Earth. Because every conspiracy that they could possibly think of was right.
But who
police crack?
But who is still buying crack, first of all? And then
wasn't recent crack. This was old crack.
No, it's staying from 2015 up until now.
Damn, so
they've been doing this shit for years.
They
like
wasn't letting them numbers go down. So they was it's messed up.
I used to feel like it was stupid for people to get caught with crack, bro. It's embarrassing.
Bro, police crack is crazy.
Getting caught with one stone is crazy. Like why you just didn't chew it or something? Like, what's like it's crazy, but yeah. But
police crack is crazy though.
What's going on though? Like,
it's no more conspiracies. Everything is true now. You know what I mean? I miss when things were just conspiracies and we just had to talk about them like we don't know. Now we know everything is true. Yeah. It's crazy. And then when they admit it, it's almost like, so what? That's the problem with today's time, man. But police crack is just diabolical.
So I didn't get to
That's
ask
why
you.
I don't want to hear nobody rap about selling crack no more.
Man, don't nobody rap about selling crack, bro. First of all,
no.
When the last
Pusha T still does,
and he ain't sold a stone since '98.
Pusha T still on that. First of all,
Pusha T. So my man, I do not relate to your music, my nigga. Like he can rap.
In Florida, selling stones.
Oh, Jay-Z still rap about selling crack. But let's get back to hip hop real quick because I don't think I talked about this. You had the comedian Andrew Schulz. And he kind of had some controversy this week when he was making a joke about Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
And I forgot what he said though. You remember what he said?
He was talking about graping him.
Talking about SAing them, basically, But like I said, like for me, I don't feel like it was that big of a deal because I ain't the type of guy that want to censor any comedian. I feel like comedians are necessary because I feel like it's a safe space for a comedian. Now, however, I do feel like it's a time and place when you can make a joke. Like you can't get on the, the Donald Trump stage and make a joke. You know what I'm saying? But if you doing the podcast and you at the spot and all that, you can make your jokes.
All right, here's the thing, brother. You can make whatever joke you want to.
But you can't respond how people react.
You can go as wild as you want to. You can go as crazy. You can go as long as this segment as you want to.
Yeah.
But when you upload it and you put it to the world and millions of people react to it, you can't be surprised when people have adverse reactions to your disrespect. Because the one thing you got to understand that everybody don't play them type of games.
Yeah.
Right? You think that comedy is not really a safe place because a person can use a joke, right? And say, I'm just joking. Like, that don't mean nothing. You feel me? Like, first of all, comedians, yeah, I get the idea of the industry. But at the end of the day, everybody got social media now. Well, because you put a comedian in front of your name, you can say things that other people can't say, and nobody should take it serious. Like, the industry done changed. Everybody got a platform. Anybody can have a podcast. So what if somebody else, another rapper, says that same thing? Kendrick supposed to give him a pass because he a rapper and get the other person a pass because they a comedian? Why? They both platforms. They both are taken similar to the same way. People take it, they repost it, they share it, they comment it, they like it. It's disrespectful from both mouths. So the thing is that if you on stage and you are in a comedy skit, then that's a little different, right? You put it in your roast, I can understand that a little more. But just on a podcast, saying that I'm a comedian so I can get away with anything, I don't think there are no safe spaces for that, right? And I don't think that there should be safe spaces for it at the end of the day, because the thing about it is in the climate that we live in the backdrop of America that we currently in, You can't allow everything to slide. You have to be respected. I've said this before. Respect is number one for us today. You feel me? And I think that if you allow people to play with you, you feel me? You setting up a bad precedence going forward. And the thing about it is the West Coast don't always play like that. You feel me? Like we never had like battle rap the same way everybody else had the same way a lot of times. The disrespect, I seen people get unalived for way less. You know what I'm saying? I seen people not get. Why you playing with me?
You ain't see. Man, you seen it on TV. I was on the tablet and I
I was
seen
there.
people.
I was there.
Cut
Listen,
it out, man.
I'll never tell you what happened, but I can tell you what happened. Listen,
Stop it, man. Go ahead.
was you there? No, you wasn't there.
Nope.
Adrian was
I was
there.
not there. I was not there.
I was there though. You feel me? But anyway, I ain't gonna get into all of that. But the whole point of it is that I think that we should constantly check things. I think that we've gotten so far away from checking things, and as black men, we allow everything to be key, ha ha ha. Well, everything ain't funny. You feel me? And I think in the time that we talking about Kendrick Lamar was talking about the people around him allowing these sort of things to happen. And black women historically, right, have been unsafe because they have always been made fun of. They have always been disrespected. They have always been shown a certain light, right? And specifically by white men. So no, there should be never a time that black women are comfortable with that until the world has shifted in the powers. Most industries are still 90 to 80% dominated by white men. The world ain't shifted much at all, right? We just act like it has. So I believe that the least thing that we can demand, not ask, because it's not an ask. You don't ask nobody to do nothing. You create force for demand. And then you put consequence behind that demand. That's the only way things shift. At the end of the day, our opinion and our perspective don't matter. He can keep doing it. He can keep being disrespectful. But then what is the demand? What is the force behind it? The repercussions are what matters the most, because at the end of the day, power only concedes to power. If you don't force people to change their ways, ain't nothing gonna change. And so as a group of people, you gotta have power.
Now, speaking of power, seizing power.
But now if something happens to bruh from these LA guys and West Coast guys who don't play like that, and he gets slapped out in public and things of that nature, you gotta also say, well, that's something he asked for.
Speaking of power, seizing power. I mentioned at the beginning of the year that the US was trying to ban TikTok. A lot of people was like, nah, they gonna come to an agreement. They got this. Now it just came back out that on the January 19th it's going down. TikTok even went to the Supreme Court and tried to reverse the whole lawsuit. And the Supreme Court sided with the US government. They say either you sell it or we banning it. What do you think is the future of TikTok now? Do you think like it's like they're not gonna bow down to the US or what?
I think TikTokers need to go work at McDonald's.
Man, it would have been fire if we had like the hamburger say
Nah, seriously. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I think that Donald Trump is gonna try to fight for the TikTok thing, but there's a lot of powers that be. I think he's acting like he's fighting for it anyway. The question is what do they really want to have happen? I think it's really gotten very far to this point where it's gonna come up on January 19th, and we're gonna have to see. I think at the end of the day, America does want to consolidate power. So you got globalism and then you got nationalism. And I think within nationalism, you want things to be maintained within your border. You know what I mean? America for Americans, right? So that's why when we're talking about the age of AI with this whole thing, it's like, how do they maintain, right, keeping wage suppression? You got artificial intelligence and alien immigrants, right? You're paying people cheap for labor, right? When America is trying to compete with these other countries that have too much dominance and too much influence over American markets, I think it's smart for them to do something that breaks that domination of that globalism that's going on. Do I think it's good for the people? No, right? Do I think that that hurts a generation that has become reliant on it? Yes and no, because also when I go through TikTok, all I see is mindless idiots on there. Like I was looking to try to observe, just preparing for this. I'm like, these kids are really stupid, right? And not stupid because they just mentally handicapped, but they brainless, right? They over there doing the little TikTok competitor games with each other. It's real bad. I ain't gonna lie. American kids are looking retarded. Excuse me, the R word. Can we bleep that out? Put a little put a little beep on that. But I do think that TikTok is bad.
Yeah.
I think that TikTok is making a real brainless, very dumb. And why? Because instead of them wanting to work a real job, these children don't want to work a job. I mean, they don't want to use physical labor, don't want to use mental labor. And then they, like I said, we talk about financial nihilism, economic nihilism. They think that, in their rightful so, that assets cost too much. Houses cost too much. The rich are getting richer with it. So they like, how can I get rich? How can I get some money? So of course, if I can go on TikTok and act stupid, right, and get paid, then that's what they're going to do. So at the end of the day, this climate was created by America, right, and by the rich that allowed TikTok to come in, because Instagram ain't giving you no money. You ain't getting no money on
Instagram got a new feature that they rolled out to where you can charge for long form subscription base.
That ain't no money.
It ain't.
That ain't no money.
Because you know they ain't gonna pay you as much as TikTok.
It has not worked on Instagram. There are no successful creators that utilize subscriptions to get paid a really big bag. Right? There's outliers where they gave people bursts of income, but there's no person that we can say
that's
got
because
paid
the
that
US control the regulations for it over here for that platform. Versus TikTok, they don't control nothing.
Right, but Instagram should have been competitive when it comes to monetization. Right?
Yeah,
YouTube
true.
is the only platform, and TikTok the only real platform with direct monetization built into it to where people can make a living from it. Instagram is all indirect monetization, right? It's a 360 deal. So they allow you to build up the platform, right, while they run ads on it and make money. And then you have to leverage the platform that you build indirectly. It's not like a Web3 model, of course, where you have ownership over your data in the internet usage that you use, which is the ownernet. But it goes to the old saying that if you're not paying for it, then you're the product. So I think that instead of just trying to cut out TikTok, what it really doing is it goes back to what I was saying, wage suppression. Instead of Elon and Mark Zuckerberg and all of them wanting to pay content creators, right, which would decrease the amount of money that they're making, right? Instead, what are they replacing it with? Automation. AI tools. They want to get rid of TikTok because it's a competitor and they don't want to have to pay creators, and it's not sustainable in this landscape. So I think that, first of all, there should be a fight, right, for people saying that, wait a minute, if you're going to make this the only platforms, then y'all need to do what they're doing, right? Instead of saying that, okay, you're just going to be forced to migrate over to these platforms. And yeah, we seeing Mark Zuckerberg kiss the ring because the Donald Trump ain't playing with him. I ain't going to lie.
So I got one last topic before we end out on this, and it's one of those topics where I definitely got to pick your brain, because we're going through a time where lawsuits are becoming the common strategy for public figures when it comes to their reputation.
Oh, snap.
And I want to know your honest opinion, and I'm probably catching you off guard with this, but
you ain't catching me off guard.
Over the week, the past week, I seen that Billy Carson had an interview with, what's the guy named, Wes Huff.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people were saying that, the boy Wes Huff, dissected everything that Billy Carson ever taught. And, they looking at this interview as the end of Billy Carson's career, which I don't agree with, of course. But Billy Carson went and took legal measure about it because he lost the debate. Now I want to know how you feel about this. Do you feel like Billy's taking it too far? It could have just, had another debate, or do you feel like it was valid?
First of all, I think a little bit. I think Billy Carson deleted his video. Shout out to my brother Billy Carson. You know what I'm saying? We have some really great conversations and episodes together. He put together the Conscious Awards. You feel me? So first of all, I'm a Taurus. Taurus are loyal. You feel me? When you go into war, fuck all them.
Yeah, I'm a Leo. We the same way.
Billy won that debate. Billy won. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned.
Don't listen to nothing the white man say.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man.
Now, hey, At the end of the day, the day got to end.
say I ain't mad at Billy. I ain't mad at Drake.
Look, all right. So I think what happened, and this is my real analysis. I think what happened is Billy was caught off guard. I think that there is honestly, I would have went about it a little different. You know, I got a little more bravado if I'm gonna deal with a situation like that. I haven't talked to him about it personally to get his direct comment on it. So I'm limited in my scope of things that I directly want to say about it, unless I'm breaking down the actual context of the conversation.
Did you see the video? Yes or no? Did you see some clips or anything?
Can I
I don't want to
can
your
I
answer.
give my dissertation
Let's get it.
on
Come
what
on,
I
man.
viewed?
Let's get to
I
it.
first seen it. Wesley Huff, he was huffing and puffing. He was he was dropping clips talking about he destroyed my good brother. And I seen the clip. I didn't think the clips was that really crazy, honestly. I thought, I mean, he caught him off guard one good time and he got a good shot in. You feel me? And then I seen how he was kind of dragging it out. I seen another clip. He dropped it again. So he basically like, oh, I'm gonna drag this out. I caught him a few times. It's like they was doing some sparring, and bro didn't know he was a professional. He bing bing, ooh, okay, bing bing, ooh, okay. But then the rest of the sparring match is kind of like subpar. It's boring. That was just it. You feel me? The rest they just kind of trading back and forth. So that's the way I looked at it. I will say that afterwards, it looked like it's been a concerted effort by the larger Christian community, right? Which I can't blame them per se, because I think Billy is a very harsh critic of Christianity, which there are a lot of people, right? This generation. But what we're going to is that you're seeing a lot of people becoming more religious. They need something to grip and hold on to in this world. So you're going to see a lot more born again Christians that's going to pop up. That's just a trend that's going to happen as people look for communities and identifiers to join into. And so the thing about the new age spirituality, it doesn't really give you a group because there's no rules to it, right?
Yeah.
And so I seen how they group together almost like a hive mind. And I've never seen videos go that viral, that many people react. It's very petty the way they break it down, because they're not really breaking down the substance. They're breaking down the gossip around it.
Yeah.
Oh, his wife reacted like this. Billy said this. Billy responded like this. That's not my thing. You know, I don't really care about all of that. I think that that's lame, right? This is just a bunch of guys with computers. You feel me? And they can't wait to take somebody down. And then, but the one thing I will say though is, you know, Billy don't come from the Afrocentric side of things. You know what I'm saying? The black God side of things. He has a lot of these European Caucasian friends of his, and I've seen a lot of them turn on him, right? The guy that even set up the debate, you know, that was somebody that Billy say turned on him. He showed up at so-called, he showed up at Brett's house. You feel me? Ready to squabble up. You know what I'm talking about? And then I seen another white guy that was on the show called Apologetics or something that was talking crazy about Billy, saying he been knowing Elizabeth since he was like 12 or 16 or something like that. And he talking crazy because both of these guys is basically saying we're born again Christians. They saying that, look, we was with Billy, but now we're with the white Christian movement again. So it's us versus them, right? So you got to really understand what you're looking at. Now, the Wesley Huff thing, I look at him as a scholar, right? A scholar, especially when you study linguistics and things of that nature, like Dr. Wesley, he's somebody that's going to break things down to a T, to a point. Now, my whole thing is really depends on whether you subscribe to, right, what he's breaking down and why you think is relevant in context to the debate in the first place, which is what I would have addressed the validity of that. But I think that what you seen was,
now hold up for the people who don't know where me and 19 Keys discussing right now. We're discussing Billy Carson having a debate with a guy called what's his name, Wes Huff. You know, and people saying that Billy Carson lost the debate, and now he has a lawsuit that he's filing against Wes Huff because he's been receiving threats and all these type of crazy things from Wes following. So I just wanted to know your opinion about it all, but you pretty much summed it up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's I think, first of all, I would love to see Wesley Huff debate Dr. Wesley Muhammad.
Would you debate him?
Yeah, I'd debate anybody. Give me the time. You know what I'm saying? But it also depends on what context we debating. You know what I'm saying? I haven't went to school for a PhD and the departments that they went through, so I'm not going to debate on those merits, right? Because I do bow down to people's specialty in their fields. That would be a fool to go in there and debate somebody. That's like if you're a fighter, but you saying let's do a UFC match versus if you're a boxer, you're gonna say let's do boxing, right? I think you have to fight people in the ring, in the arena that you consider yourself to be a master in. Now, I see that they talk down a lot about the Quran, about Islam and things of that nature. They going hard. Now, I would love to challenge them, Wesley Huff and Dr. Wesley, right? I would love to host that debate. But because a lot of people, they be afraid of the NOI scholars.
Yeah.
Because the NOI scholars, I ain't never seen nobody break them down. You know what I mean? Specifically at Dr. Wesley, I'll put all the money in the world on my brother. You know what I'm saying? So, plus, first of all, I would have loved to see them go into different merits of the conversation. Like they talk about whether Jesus was crucified or whether he had a wife and things of that nature, right? Those are me and Billy have different beliefs, right? Number one. So I never debate Billy because it's a conversation, it's a cipher, it's a build. I'm not trying to catch him off guard. If anything, I'm presenting information, asking him about it, and then by the end, we shape new perspective on things because I'm not trying to get you at an aha moment. That's different. If you're in a debate, you try to catch people off guard, get them in an aha moment. But them, when he went in there, he didn't know he was going in the enemy's battlefield, right? He didn't know he was on the enemy stage, and they was trying to catch him so that they can purposely have those clips later to destroy Billy Carson because they believe that him breaking down these ancient knowledge, these tablets, going at Christianity the way that he's doing, they talking about Billy Carson was the number one threat to Christianity. The number one. Yeah. So that means that he was on top of their hit list. You feel me? Now, we the black gods ain't worried about that. First of all, to me, also a debate does not mean you're right. Right? Because somebody can be weak at defending a point, but still been truthful. You know what I'm saying? Because a scholar can catch a lot of people off guard, right? Doesn't mean that they were right, but what they was armed with was heavy. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be prepared when you speak to people as well, and knowing, going in there with your research, going in there with your paperwork, going in there with your mind prepared so that you can present your case. Because at the end of the day, if it's just to catch somebody off guard, then there's no point to it. But if it's to say that I want to see both people fully prepared, right, with their points concise, then they come together, then there's more value to the audience because you're going to get more truth out of that. Now, I know somebody like Dr. Wesley, he's going to come in with the briefcase. He's going to set it down. Nice to meet you, brother. You know what I'm saying? He go, you feel me? Like, so look, it's like the MIB don't walk in. Don't play with my brothers.
Now, check this out, man. First, before
nobody messing with the NOI scholars, I just want to say that 100%. And this last point before we check out, all right? Because I know you got knee surgery in a second. But the Nation of Islam, I was doing some of my studying.
Oh, man.
Right. And I had pulled up a video, and this is video where the brother was talking about how the Nation of Islam had $50 million in income. This is the 1960s. And of course, in today's, that's like 400 million or $400 to $500 million, right? When you add in inflation. And we often talk about Black Wall Street, but we never talk about Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam economic blueprint, right? And how we talk about rebuilding Black Wall Street when the reality of it is that we have a much closer economic model that was feasible for Black America to work, and a spiritual model that has been working since inception to give us our greatest leaders, to have the best program for redemption and reprogramming of the Black mind and the Black family that has ever been made in America, with the most amount of books that have left behind. And ain't one of them scholars, not a Wesley Huff or Wesley Puff or anybody else that want to come up, could ever go against Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings and break them down. You know that they would love to. Have you noticed that none of them have been able to go in there, dissect them teachings and say, this man is lied, this man is a fraud? None of them have done that because they impenetrable. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what really matters at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That's the only battle that matters. Anything else, those is like, you know, you got the tournament, you got the little cards on the tournament. That's nothing. When you go against the real scholars and the real guys, I set that up at any time. But I just want us to think about that. Like, the brother was giving a list down. He said, man, we got aviation schools. He said we got trusts. He said we got banks. They had airplanes, import, export fish. They had barbershops. They had colleges. You feel me? They had grocery stores, they had bakeries, you know what I'm saying? They had cleaners, they had all of this stuff. He just kept listing and kept naming. It's like, damn, I got a whole nation. Yes. But why is that history not taught to us? Why are we going all the way back to Black Wall Street talking about let's rebuild that? When we had a nation within a nation, you know what I'm saying, that was thriving. So I think that we need to remember that a lot of these things was lost because reality was shifted post-World War II as the Japanese lost. Then we went into the civil rights era. And y'all might not like this, but those ancestors did not send us into the right timeline. The right timeline would have been one towards what Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching, right? Even towards what Malcolm X was talking about, right? Presenting our case for human rights, right? And our economic power, right? Even what got Martin Luther King killed in the first place, talking that economic power, that was the right timeline. We went to the timeline, right? To where civil rights had became the main issue and the main thing, which was super integration and assimilation. And we started trying only one methodology as our main thing. And then we only celebrated when we go black to we're about to do another Black History Month. You know who they celebrate, the same old people. We need to now have a Black history where it is post-civil rights. And let's go into that.
I like that idea.
To where we're not talking about, we already know civil rights. Boom. They messed us up a whole lot, right? No. And like those are the activists today that's trying the same tactics. None of that shit worked. They couldn't get Kamala in office. They ain't making no change, right? Nothing real is coming from them because their ideology is flawed from inception, because it is a Boole, assimilationist, apologist, you know what I'm saying, integrationalist movement that decreases nationality to where there's no group thinking focus, and there's definitely no economic improvement added into that. That economic improvement is always seen as a last crutch ditch effort, and then they go back into the same political cycle, feeding us back into the machine over and over and over again. So no, we have to go back into our radical scholars that was talking about nationalism, that was talking about economic improvement, that was talking about Black family and us being Black gods, and then having that metaphysical knowledge as well. That's the ones that we have to build our nation off of. The same way you go to the Japanese, when they had their fallen samurais, the Bushido code, they studied those ancestors. They studied the ones that knew the art of war and the art of peace, and they built their whole culture off that foundation. They put it into their cartoons, they put it into their books, their philosophies, their schools, everywhere. So a generation was built off that, so that that righteous culture became the technology that allowed them to be consistent in a world where you have mass influence of, you know, trying to demoralize them and take them away. No, the Japanese didn't allow that to happen in their culture. It needs to be the same thing. And we have the technology, we have the resources. The only question is, do we have the mind? Because it's going to take us to have a clean mind, a righteous mind, right? None of us can pass the purity perfection test. So if we're looking for that, then we lost. Because unfortunately, our generation is stained. We stained because our parents weren't perfect. Our grandparents weren't perfect. They didn't hand us down perfection. They handed us down hand-me-downs. And them hand-me-downs had stains on them. And we dressed ourselves in that as best as we could. But now is our time to clean our hands, right? To clean the fabric of our culture and pass down a new dress code to the next generation so that they can be clean and build out the utopia.
And on that note, I want to thank you all for tuning into the content that we drop on 19 Keys page. This is officially the 777th episode that we have dropped when it comes to content on this page.
Oh,
70.
I thought you talking about man to man. Nah. Boy, you just lied to them people like that.
Now, it's the 777 video uploaded
it
to
is
this
12,
page,
12 synchronicity.
12, 12, 777, man.
Last, at least I want to say this.
Nah, it ain't last but not least, because I got another question.
Not last but not least?
Well, ahead, you know what I mean?
Yes,
like I speak in aliens sometimes. But what was the biggest L you took this year? And what was the biggest W you took this year? If you could sum it up, because this might be the last episode of the Man to Man for this year.
The biggest L. Let me go back into this year. I don't know if I can look at anything as an L per se. But if we saying biggest L as in like lessons, right? We've been moving around a lot, right? We started off, we had a storefront off Melrose on the good side of Melrose.
On the
Spent
good side.
the good side. I spent a lot of money on that. First of all, a lot of money. I spent a lot of money on production, on team, on a lot of different things. Even the location we at now, we about to move into a better situation. It's funny because Allah always makes space for something better, right?
Yeah.
What I've been learning is to slow down to speed up, right? Sometimes we rush into things and it seems like a good case and it might be good for a moment, right? But I don't want stuff that's momentarily good because you can get fake gold and it feels good, looks good, right? But then once that rubs off, right, it's tarnished, then you got to replace that again. So I think a lot of these moments have been fake gold, and what we're searching for is 24 karat. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah.
that can last over time and never rust. And so I think you need to focus on things that are everlasting, that really goes towards your legacy and not just the lesson. And so moving around and slowing down and reminding myself, because I felt like I was going through different cycles. Earlier in the year, I had a reading, and I wish I didn't. I like these damn readings sometimes because what I'm saying? Because they telling me that this gonna be a year where I gotta make more sacrifice and that it's not my year, right?
Yeah.
That I'm gonna have more friction versus flow, and that next year is my real flow year. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that because then I'm gonna believe it, right? But I agree with it to an extent because energetically I was already there, and I realized like what I was bringing myself to, right, and what I've been preparing myself for. And a lot of it was a lot taking me through that and showing me myself and reminding me who I am. Like this year has been a lot of going into the archives,
Yeah.
remembering what I got started. But I heard Nikki Giovanni talk about how she said, and rest in peace to her soul, she talked about how she never looked at her old work. She said the reason I don't look at my old work is because she don't want to hold herself to those old thoughts. Because
Mm.
sometimes we don't advance, right? Because we holding ourselves to our old self, right? Oh, I said this, so let me do this. But is that authentic to where you are now, right? And if you don't have contradictions in your present, right, then are you really growing?
Mm.
Right? And so I like that idea that stop trying to align everything with your old self, right? No, you should contradict them because that represents your growth and that represents your evolution, that represents your change, right? But also there should be a thread of consistency evolving over time. And I can honestly say, of course, when I go ask y'all to pull up the archives of the old files, and I'm like, yo, I've been talking about quantum computing. I've been talking about where the culture needs to grow. I've been talking about all of these things I can say I've been very accurate predictively on that scale. And now I'm at this point to say, okay, do we continue to be the one that tell us where we're going? Or do now we just step fully into the shoes of the one who shows us where we at?
I think we should be the ones to show them where we at by going on tour again this upcoming year.
Oh yeah, we going on tour.
For sure, for sure.
November, January, February 7th. February 7th. In New York. This tour is going to start off with Live Nation. We also have some really big partnerships that I can't announce yet, but you're going to see them when you see them. I'm looking forward to the topics, the guests, high level conversations 2025. It's going to be bigger, it's going to be better than ever.
Facts.
I'm looking at the landscape, figuring out what's the best ways to do it. And gratefully, I found a model that I know is going to work because what we have to do as we exist in this quantum timeline of the future, it's going to require us to speed up our minds. Everybody needs to be clean. And by clean, by I mean like inside and out. As you can see, I'm a little congested. I got to clean that out, right? We need to be in a super order, right? We need to have that moment where we take that zen, that silence, that mindfulness. We need to get our breathing together. Why I say that? Every time there is a shift on the planet, things change and they speed up very fast, right? And you can get a future shock where things move so fast, you get anxiety. And if I look at the way these machines have to be powered up in order for them to operate at their quantum level, It requires a lot of energy. Then I look at the human mind, the black body. Number one, we need to be getting as much sun. We need to be working out. We need to be eating properly. We need to have more discipline, more righteousness. That will sustain us during this time, right? Cleanliness, 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 I think is going to be the key. You're getting sun, you're getting cleanliness, and you're getting isolation and separation so you can think mathematical, right? Because in that mathematical mind, where you don't hear nobody but your own original thoughts, that's God intervening and using you as a vessel. And you're going to need that to connect to that psychic intuitiveness, right? So you have that super consciousness moving forward because we're going into a superhero, superhuman world, right? Where being regular won't cut it. You know what I mean? If we have AIs and robots and quantum computing, you ain't just gonna be doing math trying to figure out. Your intuition has to be so high that you can make quantum leap adjustments. And you have to be an observer at the highest level of this world to really be God body programmed. So that means that you have to focus on the infrastructure of self to get you, no matter how hard that battle is, the toughest battle in the world is gonna be getting yourself together. Forget the outside world. It's going to be getting yourself together. Clear-minded, energy. That's been my battle every day. Getting myself, making sure I'm operating at prime levels. Because there's so much going on in this world. If you can't stand still and be able to focus and see the world moving around versus you just moving around with everything and you caught in the chaos, there is no power for you.
Well, like I said, I like to end on this note because I know it's probably time for you to go and pray to the east and everything. But
I guess that was a joke.
no, it wasn't serious, right? No.
Prayer is a good thing.
Yeah,
you trying
but
to make
no,
fun of prayer.
the W
That shows you.
No, listen. The W that we took this year.
Yourself. You need to check yourself.
I pray.
Playing with God
I
like
pray.
that. You need to check yourself.
I pray. But
hey,
listen.
Last but not least, hold on before you say what you about to say because you didn't came up with a good thought.
Okay.
No, this is really good. You're gonna like this. They say that we're born in God's image, and I agree with that. Right. But what we need to strive towards is to be in God's likeness. Right. And I think that we have made it into an egoist thing when we talk about being gods. Yeah, we children of the Most High. Right. You can be in your father's image. Your father can be great. You look like your father. Right. But are you in his likeness? Do you have those same traits and those attributes? And I think that that is the advancement that we need to focus on as a culture, is to not have this ego. I'm melanated. I'm a black God. No, you in your father's
gotta be
image.
Living like that.
But are you in his likeness? And that is the message for the culture of 2025, is to be in your father's likeness, right? Instead of bragging about being in his image.
And like I said, because I had asked you the question, what was the biggest L and W? But since you didn't mention W, I'll just give the W that I feel like as a collective when it comes to our team that we took this year.
W is just two L's when they come together.
Can I talk? I just play. Nah, the W is, bro, I want to thank you for being consistent with me on this Man to Man show. Because we started off in January doing a relaunch. We here in December. We probably missed a couple of episodes in August and, you know what I'm saying, November due to the schedule. I blame August on me, and I'm blaming November on you for sure. But one thing we did do was we most definitely broke down all of the topics that's been going on in the entertainment, political field, the economic field, every field, and we gave y'all some good perspectives and good content. And we was consistent, bro. I appreciate you because my last co-host quit on me.
Shout out to Poole.
But now I appreciate you all for following. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe this video today. We'll see y'all at the top of the year. You might see us next week.
Oh, make sure y'all go to get you some of this coffee, man. Get you some of that supermind, that mental energy and focus. That's what he just had in his cup. That's what I got in my cup. That is what this is actually hosted by. If you want to be somebody that buys 100 bags or 200 bags, email DM me directly. We get your order out. No, seriously, this coffee gonna take over for the year. Clean energy, clean focus, hypercognition. You want to reduce that stress, enhance that resilience. You want to have that enhanced mood, mental clarity going to 2025. Get you some of that supermind. Right, you can go to right now. We're gonna have a supermind site up, but you can DM me on Instagram. Just DM me the word coffee, and we'll send you a link